I'm Mr. Muneer, Tabarak, teaching grade 12 bilingual. Welcome to Tabarak Private School education platform. We have to thank our respected chairman, Mr. Yunus Al-Rahbi, for connecting the school with the students through this educational bridge.
Good morning all. Welcome to Tabarak online teaching. Today we are going to study a very beautiful poem, Lines Composed Upon Westminster Bridge by William Wordsworth. This is one of the best poems that William Wordsworth has ever written. So today we are going to study this poem, discuss the literary devices, themes, tone, topics, vocabulary, everything in detail. First of all of you know William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was a leading figure in the Romantic movement, although many of his poems deal with rural themes. Upon Westminster Bridge describes a very urban landscape. This is one such a poem that talks about the beauty of the city. Most of his poems talk about beauty of village where he lived, named Lake District. But this poem is a very different one, which talks about the beauty of London. First of all, this poem is a sonnet. Do you know what is a sonnet? We have studied sonnet in detail at the beginning of the first semester. Now, let's go through what are the different types of sonnets. A sonnet is a 14-line poem with a specific rhyming scheme. There are three types of sonnets. The first one is Shakespearean or English sonnet. Second one is Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. And the third one is the Miltonic sonnet. First of all, the Shakespearean sonnet. This sonnet is divided into three quatrains of 4 lines, means each stanza will be 4 lines, and this way we have 3 stanzas. Then a rhyming couplet. You remember a couplet means 2 lines. So usually the first part provides a problem or a situation, and the couplet which provides the answer to the issue or a comment on the description. The rhyme scheme of this sonnet is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. For example, sonnet 18 that you studied in grade 11. Now, the next one is a Petrarchan sonnet or Italian sonnet. These sonnets are generally divided into octave, means the first 8 lines. As you know, a sonnet has 14 lines. The first 8 lines are called octave. Then the sestet, which means the next or the last 6 lines. The octave deals with the specific problem or issue or event. Then the sestet provides a solution or comment. The octave follows ABBA, ABBA rhyme scheme. The sestet varies and may have a rhyme scheme such as CDE, CDE, CDC, DCD, or CDD, CEF. So now we are going to deal with a Petrarchan sonnet. Lines Composed Upon Westminster Bridge. This is a beautiful poem. This poem was composed when he was on his way to France from his village. On his way, he stopped on the bridge and then found such a beautiful sight. He was really amazed by the sight. He stayed there, according to his sister Dorothy Wordsworth. It was almost 5 o'clock in the early morning, so he stopped there and wrote these lines. First, let's go through these lines. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. a sight so touching in its majesty. The city now doth like a garment wear, the beauty of the morning silent bare. Ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie open unto the field and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did the sun more beautifully steep in his first splendor, valley, rock, or hill. No, so I never felt a calm so deep. The river glided at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. This is a very beautiful expression of the sight that he had seen from London Bridge. We can find it from the first line itself. Earth has not anything to show more fair. We can see it's a very unusual word order that he has used, which means earth cannot show him anything more fair, means more beautiful here. So what does it mean? It means this is the most beautiful sight that he had ever seen. Now read the next two lines. They are even more beautiful. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by, a sight so touching in its majesty. When you take the third line itself, you can even write 2 pages about the third line only. A sight so touching in its majesty. What does it mean? Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. A person who just passed by this sight and he cannot enjoy it means he is a dull person, or his soul will be dull. Why? Because this sight is so touching in its majesty. So this line, this third line, is a paradox. What is a paradox? A paradox is a contradictory statement. Two opposing ideas come together. Here we can find touching and majesty. As we know, touching sights are usually emotional sights, like a child giving kiss to his grandmother, or a flower is given to a very sick person, or like the last moments of a father, or the last kiss to a grandmother. So these are very touching emotional scenes. But what about the majestic scenes? They are very different. They are very high, vast scenes, like Fast and Furious have seen, like cities, big cities with racing cars, and even Hollywood, even the king enters the throne. These type of big scenes are called majestic scenes. So this sight is a mixture of sight, a touching and a majestic scene. That is why this line is a paradox. So this is a wonderful expression of that sight. Now let's go through the poem. The octave. As we know, octave means the first 8 lines of a Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. Here, the first 8 lines presents the beauty of Westminster Bridge and the sight that he had seen. It is a wonderful description, as we can find earth cannot show him more beautiful, which is indeed an exaggeration. This means a hyperbole. Now, the city now doth like a garment wear, the beauty of the morning, is a meaningful simile here. He compared the city to a person who is wearing garment, which is the beauty of the morning. So here we get the idea that the city is really very beautiful in the early morning. Means it may not have the same beauty in the afternoon or evening, maybe because of pollution, or maybe some other aspects. The personification in this line is also significant how Wordsworth creates his impression of London, because it creates somewhat artistic beauty in the reader's mind. Now the sestet. Sestet means the last 6 lines of a Petrarchan sonnet. Here the sestet focuses more on nature rather than the city. As we could find, the octave focused more on the city and the sights, but the sestet focuses more on nature. We could find from the hyperbole, never did the sun more beautifully steep. Never did the sun more beautifully steep. What does it mean? It is an emphasis on the appearance of sun. Here the sun is personified, as when the sun appears in the village, it was not really beautiful like this one. Means sunrise was really more beautiful in the city than in the village. This is indeed a hyperbole. But a poet who loves nature and who has written a lot of poems on nature, this is a very different expression, that sunrise was more beautiful in the city than in the village. Now, the points that we could find from the poem, these are the points that we may use for any question that you get. What are the points that we got? First part, it's the most beautiful sight that he had ever seen. And people who do not enjoy this beauty are dull of soul. Moreover, city is compared to a very handsome person wearing beautiful clothes. Then, objects in the city are shining in the smokeless air because of its beauty. Sun is more beautiful in city than in the village. Finally, the river's decision to move smoothly without noise had more beauty, and houses and the heart of the city are sleeping, which made it more relaxed and add tranquility to the beauty. Now, let's go through the literary devices. See the first line, earth has not anything to show more fair. This is a hyperbole. It's an exaggeration that earth cannot show him anything more beautiful, because this is the most beautiful sight. And the third line, as we discussed, a sight so touching in its majesty is a paradox. It's a contradictory statement which brings two opposing ideas of touching and majestic scenes together. Then the fourth line, the city now doth like a garment wear, is a personification. Here we can find even the city is capitalized to show city is a very handsome person who is wearing garments. Then next 2 lines we can find visual imagery of ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lying very beautifully. Then all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. All these sights shining in the smokeless air is a very interesting visual imagery. In the sestet, the first line, never did the sun more beautifully steep, is a hyperbole. It's an exaggeration that sun was never more beautiful in his appearance, in his first splendor. This is the personification here. In his first appearance, magnificent appearance in valley, rock or hill. Here we can find visual imagery related to countryside. Nature imagery is used here to compare the beauty of city and the village. Ne'er saw I, never felt a calm so deep. It's again exaggerated. He has never felt a calm so deep. Then the next part, the river glided at his own, that is again personification, his own sweet will. So this was the sweet will of the river that decided to move smoothly without making any noise. Wow. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep. He is exclaiming, even the houses are sleeping. Which means again, the houses are sleeping is a personification. And all that mighty heart is lying still. Here the mighty heart is a metaphor for the vitality or the energy of the city, which indirectly means London. And it's a personification that the heart is also sleeping here. Now the vocabulary. There are several vivid graphic words used here. They are intents that helped him to present the beauty of the city, as we can find words like silent, bare, open, bright, glittering. Throughout the octave provide imagery allowing the reader to easily picture what Wordsworth experienced. Through these descriptive words, the poet shares his awe of admiration and the dazzling sight and are essential to help him to convey the message. In addition, silent bare gives a sense of tranquility in the area, not only setting a calm tone and atmosphere, but also harmony with nature. The tone of the poem is enchanted as he writes in awe and peacefulness, and this further illustrates the depth of poet's feelings, as we know that he was really amazed and excited by the beauty of the city. Structure. It's a Petrarchan sonnet, as we discussed. The octave describes London and man-made features, while the sestet is more focused with nature of the region. Here is a homework for you. Read this poem, lines composed upon Westminster Bridge again, and answer these questions. How do you explain the phrase, so touching in its majesty, line number 3, which is a paradox as we discussed in the lesson? Why is this phrase almost like a paradox? So first question, write at least 100 words. Second question, how does the use of personification contribute to the speaker's sense of awe? We found several personifications in this one, like the city is personified, and even the sun is personified, the river is personified, the houses are personified. Okay, so talk about the use of personification and how does it help the poet to express his sense of awe. This is the work. Hope you enjoy the lesson. Thank you.
Homeworks and other activities are downloaded on Moodle on Tabarak website. If you have any inquiry, email to Tabarak Private School.